Kristen Riggins had 30 days to move after her landlord's management company told her they were selling the home she was renting with her 3 children. Unable to find an affordable rental in time, rents in Columbus, Georgia, were rising. Riggins ended up moving her family into a hotel, uncertain of what to do next. She had been pre-approved for a mortgage about a year earlier at a rate near 3.5%, so she started to look more seriously at buying. I said, well, if I'm gonna pay this rent, I might as well buy, she told BuzzFeed News. Like many people caught in the latest home buying rush, however, Riggins, who processes medical claims for work, was repeatedly outbid. Her agent said she would have to go above a home's asking price if she wanted to close a deal. The last 2 years have been a chaotic and frustrating time for many buyers, as low mortgage rates and record high rents stirred up an unprecedented hysteria to own a place to live, still an enduring component of the American dream. It led to feverish bidding wars, hasty closings, and poor, or even waived, inspections, all propelling home prices to new highs. Then the Federal Reserve hit the brakes in response to inflation. Mortgage rates spiked in 2022, cooling the housing market and suddenly making homeownership even more unaffordable for many. Investors now expect home values to drop in 39% of U.S. cities next year. As the frenzy tapers off and the economy seems to be moving toward another recession, some people who bought at the peak regret buying properties that now seem overpriced. BuzzFeed News heard from people around the country who bought a house in the last 2 years and said they now regret it financially. Overall, they described feeling trapped by rising housing costs, no matter if they rented or bought, and having little leverage against landlords, sellers, and banks. Many ended up in multiple bidding wars against other buyers, and felt the price they closed at was ultimately too high, but did not see another option. The rents were also rising. Some who bought in the early months of the pandemic relied on video tours before closing, because COVID restrictions prevented them from entering their future houses, or touring them for as long as they would have liked. They later found costly problems with their homes that were not identified by their inspectors, whom they often met through their agents or lenders and who they felt did not protect their interests. Meanwhile, home repairs have been slow and expensive due to pandemic-related supply chain issues and labor shortages. And financing repairs is challenging when home values are set to decline. All these factors have left these owners wondering whether it was worth it after all. I almost feel like it's a scam, or a trick to get me more into debt. I worked so hard to get my credit up to even be able to apply for a mortgage, Riggins said. Homeownership is almost another way to keep people under. In May, Riggins' $202,000 offer on a 3-bedroom home with a yard was accepted, but interest rates were rising. I started to back out so many times, especially when I was going through those bidding wars, and even with this, I didn't feel good about bidding that much, she said. I'll never forget when my agent did the paperwork and turned it in. I didn't get any sleep at night. I remember calling her the next morning and was like, I'm thinking about backing out. Maybe I should just find a place to rent. Riggins said that the agent reminded her that a home is an investment, that when rates were lower she could refinance, and suggested she cut corners somewhere or try to pick up a part-time job. Riggins tried her best to shake off her nerves and moved ahead with the sale. It was a relief to finally be able to move her kids out of the hotel, but by the time she closed in July, her mortgage rate was 6%, setting off a chain of financial consequences she was unprepared for. I feel like I bought more problems, she said. Riggins' monthly rent had only been $800 a month. The mortgage payment for a home of the same size is about $1,500. The house also needed repairs that her inspector did not catch. None of the kitchen appliances worked. There were electrical issues. The roof needed to be fixed. She found mold under the cabinets. I feel like I was really screwed over and put in a really bad space, she said. Riggins depleted her savings and has nearly maxed out her credit cards, which she previously kept only for emergencies. She downsized from an SUV to a sedan to reduce her car payments. Riggins is getting by paycheck to paycheck now, and earning extra money by working for Instacart and renting out her car. Still, there was no wiggle room to take her daughter out for her birthday this year. Record housing prices and rapidly rising interest rates have many people questioning the value and viability of homeownership. The median home sale price in the U.S. has jumped by 34% to $440,300 in mid-2022 from $327,100 at the end of 2019. Meanwhile, mortgage rates rose this year to 6.7% from about 3.7% at the end of 2019. By this summer, a home purchase was unaffordable for a typical first-time buyer intending to purchase a typical home, according to the National Association of Realtors. Funding necessary repairs beyond the mortgage payments, while the prices of everyday goods continue to climb, has many new homeowners stretched thin. The house is a lemon, said Joshua Winge, who bought a 4-bedroom home 40 minutes outside of San Diego in April for $730,000, $31,000 over asking, after losing out on 7 other houses. Winge and his husband are now dealing with about $20,000 in repairs. Did we have a choice? He said. They had been living with a friend, and needed to move, whether it be renting or buying. Knowing that interest rates were expected to rise, which would price them out, they made the decision to buy. We did what we could to get the best we could.